Welcome to Regions Extra, stories around the SEC. I am Peter Burns. That is Christopher Doering. CD, who is the best storyteller you know?
It would unquestionably be Coach Spurrier.
That is factually correct. We're out here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. So many stories inside, and maybe even more stories to tell.
I'm going to take you in there, show you some of his favorite memorabilia, some things you probably wouldn't expect, but then we're going to go to his house and actually hear the stories from his own mouth. I haven't been to his house since I was a player, so this is a real treat for me. You should count yourself lucky.
You better be knocking on the door, not me. Let's go ahead and check out the grill, shall we?
One of the great college All-Americans of our time. This is Steve Spurrier.
Ready, man?
I'm nervous. I'm not going to I'll be honest. You knock on the door. So this is the head ball coach.
Hey, fellas. Hey, CD, good seeing you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Peter.
How are you?
Peter Burns?
Yeah.
Hey,
now, when do you have
remember my
start
name?
wearing your LSU gear?
I already paid the bet,
You already
Coach.
done it?
I paid it off on the show the other day.
He looked great in it, though, Coach. I got to be honest with you.
We didn't lose much to LSU back in the day.
That's true.
That's true.
Part of the stories we'll have
All
in a
right,
little bit.
Come on in, fellas.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
I think people would be surprised that you and Kirby Smart have like kind of a friendship that you developed a little bit too, right?
Decent. Actually, we played together 2 years up there. He was my partner, and I think we came in third or fourth. We were in there. Didn't putt very well, either one of us that day. But yeah, Kirby's a good coach, and I tell the trivia question: what one coach in the SEC right now has won an SEC championship? There's only one of them.
That's right.
There's only one of Kirby.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Currently, right now.
he's the only one.
His record against Florida and Tennessee as a player was abysmal, and
As a coach,
he turned it now as a coach. I feel like, I remember back the stories about, some of the disappointments you guys had about Georgia when you were a player and how much that Georgia win meant. Georgia week felt special when we were getting ready to play them. Was that true to you? Did that game always mean a little something more?
well, it certainly did starting out because they had owned us. And my senior year, they beat us, or we won Florida's first ever SEC. And they beat us in the second half. They put a little blitz package in that we did not know how to get to. Lynn Hughes got a pick six on me, their safety. But they just beat us. And so when I got the coach here, I said, I got to beat him a whole bunch of times if I'm going to get even. So fortunately, we beat him 11 out of 12. And so I call myself even with him now. And I was lucky to beat him 5 times in South Carolina.
Right.
And,
5 out of how many tries?
and so I'm the winningest coach ever over Georgia. Jordan had the record, and I got him by 1. I got 16, and he's got 15. So
You think about that as well, too, in all these great rivalries, Florida State being one of as well, Florida, UT, Fulmer, stuff like that. Let's start with you two. What was that relationship when playing with Coach against Coach Fulmer, and what kind of, he brought to the table back in the day?
yeah, we were the 2 best teams in the East, and I never realized that I was at the SEC Legend thing before one of the championship games, I think in 2018 or so. I was going in, and Peerless Price from Tennessee was going in. And in 98, they beat us in overtime. We missed a little field goal, and they made one, and they won the game. And Peerless was telling me, he said, man, Coach, we celebrated that game big time. I said, well, brother, yeah, you guys probably maybe deserved one. He said, my 4 years at Tennessee, we lost 3 games, all to you guys. I said, I never thought about that. They lost it 95, 6, 7, and then they won in 98. I never realized that because, after you play a team early, we played them second or third game, you forget about them. You go on to the next team. So I think the football gods said it's time for Tennessee to win one. That's the only way to look at it, I think.
I think the thing that is interesting for fans, when you were coaching against Coach Fulmer or Coach Bowden, there was a bit of a rivalry. But I think after you got done, did those relationships grow? Coach Fulmer talks about you with such respect and friendship.
Yeah, we're good friends, I think now. And Yeah, sometimes in the heat of battle, and you say some corny things, and people get upset. In fact, Pierce told me, he said, "Coach, when you said you can't spell Citrus Bowl without a UT in it, we were a little ticked off back then." But he said, "Now that is sort of funny, isn't it?" And I said, "Well, it was in the summertime. It was at the Orlando Gator Club is when I said it. So I tried to keep all those corny jokes in the summertime, not during the week of the game."
Adds to it. I mean, the same thing. FSU would stand for what? Free Shoes University. I mean, because all of these things, you hear these phrases, and you wonder, all right, is that urban legend or those things actually happened?
In fact, I told that corny joke at the Orlando Gator Club also, and one of the guys that works for the Booster Club said, "Coach, we found out what FSU stands for." And I said, "What's that?" They run an investigation. Their players got some free Nike shoes, and it's called Free Shoe University. He said, "You ought to tell that one tonight." I said, "Well, I will. Don't worry." We finally found out what FSU stands for, Free Shoe U. But anyway, the Gators loved it. It wasn't meant to go to anybody else.
Because I think who else loved you was the media. And media days, you were an absolute star. I think there's a void without you being there. Did you enjoy getting up in front of the?
Oh, I didn't tell any jokes.
No, not jokes, but just enjoy.
Oh, I was just.
You were honest about that.
I believed in being confident, and I believe in telling our guys we're certainly good enough to win SEC championships. And really, it all started at Duke University. That year, we won one there because I brought all the film down here to Florida after I got the Florida job in '90. And our players started watching these little old Duke guys on offense and defense beat these other guys. And, I mean, we beat them. It wasn't any 1 or 2 point games. The closest game we had was the Clemson one, 21-17. And then after that, we won by at least 9 points or more. But anyway, they watched those guys play with effort and hustle and believing they could win. And if you do that, then certainly you got a chance to.
You talk about Duke. There was time Georgia Tech, and then of course Florida and South Carolina. I'm always fascinated about what could have been in other things. What other jobs that came out that you either interviewed or were close to doing?
LSU, I went there after the USFL folded. Yeah, I visited there, and
Well, that's not 05. That's not after your time in Washington. You're talking like late.
yeah, I'm talking about let's see, when the USFL folded in 85.
Okay.
So it was 86, 87. I interviewed there, went to Mississippi State, and then the Duke job opened up when Steve Sloan went to Alabama as the AD. And so I got a chance to go back to Duke, where I was the offensive coordinator 80, 81, 82. So anyway, one of the administrative people told Tom Butters, the AD, said, "If I was you, I wouldn't hire Spurrier." He said, "Why?" "Because he'll just win too many games and leave and go somewhere else." And Tom Butters said, "If he wins too many games and leaves, he'll be the first coach in Duke history to do that. So let's take our chances, okay?"
That was the beginning of.
Have,
And I know you didn't originally like the Fun and Gun name, right? That was something you had.
Wait, you didn't like the fun? I thought that was kind of the mark.
There was a preferred name that you liked for the offense, right? What was the original?
well, at Duke, they called it airball.
Airball.
Because basketball school, airball. And every time we throw a long pass, students would start chanting airball, airball. And if we hit one, they would chant airball. But we ran the ball too much to Fun and Gun. I mean, football is fun when you win, but it's it's sort of a mean game. You're not out there laughing and giggling around. But you need to have fun, and the fun comes with winning, obviously.
But that was
Mhm.
when you were at Duke, the early beginnings of the offense that you developed. And I remember you talking to us about you either do it the same way everybody else does it and work harder at it, or you do something totally different. Talk about the beginning of the offense and how you kind of came up with what ultimately became what you did at Duke in Florida and South Carolina.
Well, I was very, very fortunate when I got hired at Duke by Red Wilson, Coach Red Wilson. I had no job. Everybody says, "Why you love Duke so much?" And I said I got hired twice when I had no job by Duke University. So anyway, Coach Red Wilson hires me at Duke, 1980. Bill Curry took the Georgia Tech job, and he interviewed me and said, and I was there the year before. And he said, well, I got to interview some other guys. So I got to let you know later or some of that. So I called Duke and went over for an interview and got hired at Duke. And so I get up there and I said, Coach, where's your offensive playbook? I need to learn. He said, we don't have one. He said, you can do your own playbook, call it what you want to, put in the numbering system, terminology. I said, this is too good to be true.
So was it overwhelming? This was the opportunity.
So simple. In fact, down here in Florida, Shane Matthews will tell you, since we were under investigation, they said you can't meet with a team till the first day of spring practice. No notebooks or no anything. So first day of spring practice, we're in the meeting room, defense over there. And Shane said, what's the offense, Coach? I said, I'm going to put it on the board right now. All right, I drew up a formation, 8-hole that way, 9-hole, blah, blah, blah. Tailbacks 1 to 4 hole, 1 to 8, blah, 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 blah. We went out and practiced with no problems. And then we come to the first scrimmage we're having. Shane said, how are we going to call the play? Somebody going to run them in, Coach? Oh, I said, my bad. Here's the signals, okay? Split right. One hand's right, 2 hands is left, okay? Split right. And then we signaled in the plays that day. That's how simple it is. That's how simple it was. Anybody can learn.
It didn't matter if he was at Washington, at South Carolina, even with the Apollo, the signals were still the same. Like I could watch him and still know exactly what plays were.
Had to hide him a little bit. Occasionally we'd stand the guy here and send him to the quarterbacks. But you can't, even if the other guys, and we'd audible a lot.
Yeah.
So,
but the confidence that hey, we don't need to necessarily change the signals, and I think the thing going back to recruiting, like I remember at the time, you either wanted to come be a part of what we were doing or you didn't. You weren't begging anybody to come be a part of the football program in Florida anywhere else, right? Did your attitude towards recruiting change as you continued on at South Carolina later, or was that something that just you attracted the right people?
Well, we tried to attract the best we could, and so forth.
Some pretty good players there.
Oh, we had 3 teams that could have won an SEC, but we didn't. We had 2 conference losses and went 11-2 and beat Clemson every year, but it just didn't work out. We got to 1 championship game and got clobbered by Auburn the year they won the national championship. But yeah, that would have been neat if we could have won an SEC there. But anyway, what else we talk about?
Well,
play calling?
Well, yeah. You talk about play calling? Where did you get that gift? Because I've said before, I've never been around a coach that could know what a defense was going to do before the defense knew themselves. And you're doing it from the sideline. You're calling plays based upon feel and what teams have done in the past. But
well, back in those days, we could yell in the audible too. Quarterback leave his ear open. They just sort of do that a lot, especially up at Duke. Down here, of course, crowd noise is such. But Shane will tell you, we're playing Kentucky, and let's see, what year was that? 91. It was 91. And 92. And we knew that they knew the signal for the hitch pass. It was just simple.
You're supposed to come. Yeah.
And we knew that they knew it. So we're ahead 41-12. And one of the guys on the bed said, Coach, do that phony signal and run the hitch and go. That's what we were going to do. I said, okay. So we send it in. So Shane gets up there. He gives him the good fist signal. DB saw it. He goes back 3 steps. And then he took another step. But our guy ran the hitch, and he was wide open. And then he gets hit while he's throwing, and their guy picked it off and scored.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So afterwards, we beat them 41-19. And I said, well, I told you guys during the week, this should go for a touchdown. Well, it did. It went for Kentucky.
There's a story that's out there, and I don't know if it's urban legend or not. Was there ever a play sheet that you left behind on purpose?
Yeah.
What's the story?
At Knoxville. Yeah. Yeah, we were 96. We were up there. We always went to the movie right before and so forth, and we did a little phony play sheet of the plays, and the first play was going to be a reverse. And so I left it in the bathroom, and Doc Lucky, our security guy, said, Coach, Doug Johnson left his play sheet, and I had Doug's name on it. Doug didn't know anything about it. He said, left it in the bathroom. It's got all the plays on it. I said, Doc, those is a bunch of phony plays. Go put it back in there. So,
And so that was your brain. Like you did it. He had
no,
idea
there was just a whole bunch of crap on it after that. But first play, it was going to be a reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Z reverse right. And so the actual play was handoff and fake the reverse. And so I was thinking Tennessee was going to start yelling reverse, reverse when Riddell came around, but they did. They didn't get to sheet.
How did that happen? How much kind of that, in that world, did that ever happen to you in playing games, or that you do that more often?
No, not really. Not really. That was just lighting the tension. 96. That was when they said that was going to be the biggest game ever in Tennessee history in 96. And I think they overbuilt the game, to tell you the truth, because we got ahead, 35-0 in the first.
Why do you think that? Like,
I think they tried too bad to beat us a little bit, just overhyped it a little bit. And I mean, Peyton, he had his worst games against us. He never threw pick sixes or anything. I don't know why, but they had some bad games against us.
Is there a game that you go back to and wish you had a chance to do it over?
Oh, several.
What stands out to you?
Well, 98 and 2001. Now, those two teams were 01 team finished third in the nation after winning the bowl game. 98 team won the bowl game, finished fifth in the nation. But we lost to Tennessee both games.
The 01 was the rescheduled because of 9/11 playing at the end of the year.
If we lost by 3 and lost by 2, if we win those games, we play for the SEC championship and then the national if we won it. But Tennessee ended up beating us. So,
do you in your life, were there disappointments that you look at, that you learned from, that you grew from? I feel like, getting to the way we went to the Sugar Bowl the first time, we didn't necessarily handle it the right way, and then we figured it out, and they like,
wait, what's this story? What's the didn't handle it the right way? Is that new?
Well, yeah, I told the older guys they could drink beer, except 2 nights and the night before the game. Couldn't do it then. But you guys can have the older guys, because you're there all week. And I don't think that was a good idea. If they wanted to sneak one out sometime, that would have been fine. But I told them they were okay to do that. So we quit okaying that.
There's a lot of hanging out, but the next time we went there, we beat West Virginia, 41-7, I think, something like that. Yeah. So I do think the same thing. Losing to Alabama in the SEC championship game, then we won the next 4. We lose in the national championship in Nebraska, and then the next year you guys win it. It feels like you guys always learn from a disappointment or a loss. That Coach Saban always said that don't waste never waste a failure, right? I mean, is that something that stood out to you?
Well, we did do some things differently. Yeah, that's true. You do learn from it and so forth. And we finally learned to put the shotgun in. Took a while.
Tell them why you were resistant.
Well, we really didn't need it. I mean, we're leading the conference in offense, touchdowns, and everything else. But those good pass rush teams, it's helpful. Very helpful. We put it in against Alabama.
Yeah.
The 96 SEC championship game. And
so did really use it up amidst at that point, and all of a sudden, knowing you're playing SEC championship,
we'd lost
it in.
We'd lost to FSU 24-21, and so we came back home, and we always take Sunday off. And Monday night, we watched the tape of the game, and I told the guys, get that out of your seat. We're not going to practice Monday night. Get all that lost. We thought we were out of the national championship hunt when we lost to FSU, because we were 1-2 with FSU, but since we lost, we went to about number 6, because all the other teams that had one loss, they go in front of you when you lose late in the year. So anyway, I said, we're going to lick our wounds, and tomorrow we're going to come get ready to practice and win us another SEC championship, okay? So we got it out of our system. We went 2 days without practicing, and then I asked Wiley Rich, I said, can you snap for the shotgun? He said, yeah, Coach, did it in high school all the time. And Danny said, yeah, we did shotgun some. I said, okay, we're putting it in. And Danny throws 6 touchdowns against number 1 defense in the country, Alabama. 6
The-
touchdown passes, 45 points. So I said that shotgun worked out pretty good. But he was underneath some too. We did a little both. Yeah.
And how many points against Florida State in the national championship game in the rematch? How many touchdown passes? 52. Yeah,
52. Yeah, that was the same year.
quite a few. I'll go back to. I think the thing you got something to expound on that.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gun helped us against good pass rushers. No doubt about it.
The thing that there's so many things that are transferable from what we did to life in general, but the attention to detail, like we would throw routes on air for hours and hours, just the timing. But I think the original fear was that being out of the shotgun didn't time up the steps the right way with our routes. Correct? Is that some of the?
Well, we figured it out though.
Yeah.
The 5-step route is just a 3,
Mhm.
and the 7-step route in the gun's a 5. So it sort of common sense kicks in because you got to wait a little bit to get the ball. So it worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Talking about FSU, what's that rivalry like between Florida?
I think it's changed a little bit since then. FSU, and I don't want to get into it a whole lot, but they bragged about knocking quarterbacks out of the game. They bragged about hitting guys to the echo of the whistle and all that kind of stuff. We hit to the echo, not when the whistle, but when the echo comes, and stuff like that. And they did. They hit guys late, and SEC refs didn't call it back then. They did not call it. And the only time in my life I went to the referees meeting was before the national championship game. We used to send an assistant coach, and I went to the meeting, and I said, these guys hit the quarterback after he's thrown the ball, and his arm's already down, and they hit him. Isn't that called roughing the passer? He said, yeah, that's roughing the passer. And I said, well, that's all I wanted to know. And FSU sent their AD there, and he was mouthing about something. I forget his name, but he's not there anymore. But anyway, they called 2 or 3 roughing the passers real early.
Really?
And then they said, well, hell, we can't hit him late anymore. But they did. And Coach Bowden, I think he just let the defensive coaches coach. But their offensive guys were first-class guys now. Warwick Dunn and those guys.
Yeah.
Charlie Ward, they're as good a guys as you'll find. And I see Charlie Ward at the Heisman things and so forth and so forth.
Ward's done an unbelievable job too. Like building that somebody Poland, that's very underprivileged families. He's done a great job. So, obviously you're talking about Tennessee, you're talking about Florida State. These are great programs. How are the recruiting battles between you and other coaches? What coach always you were going back and forth with when it came to recruiting?
Well, mostly FSU, Georgia a little bit. And we got some guys from Louisiana. Ike Hilliard.
Oh, yeah.
All those guys.
Sorolla Palmer's from there.
Ike Hilliard's cousin, I think, played at LSU. Somebody asked him, why didn't you go to LSU? He said, I'm a wide receiver. That's why. Florida's the place if you want to catch a bunch of passes and touchdowns. So,
What was your recruiting pitch? I mean, what was your
well, you show them what you've done in the past, and here's what we do, and opportunity. Yeah, you don't ever guarantee anything, but opportunity. So we certainly tried to do that.
Did you eat every meal that every parent cooked?
A little bit.
And you stand out to you?
And told them about graduating too. Our pitch was to graduate. In fact, in the 90s, the top 2 teams for graduating players, everybody thought it was Vanderbilt and us, but it was us and Alabama.
Really?
Yeah, for graduations in the 90s. I guess Vanderbilt might have been 3rd in there.
When you go back and look, we were talking earlier about your recruiting coming out of high school. Were you recruited by Bear Bryant as well? He was trying to have it. That was the thing.
Yeah, I went down there. My dad and another guy from Morristown, they had a player, David Wrights, and he and I and my dad and the other guy drove down there Friday night after one of our games. They drove all night. Alabama played Miami. George Meyer was quarterback. This was what, 62 or so. Joe Namath was the quarterback. And it was close at halftime, and then Alabama won 36-3 or something like that. So I met with Coach Bryant the next morning, right before you take off. And he said, Steve, we got Joe Namath here. And but I tell you what, you're probably a good enough athlete to play safety.
When Bear Bryant asked you to play,
Well, I played safety
Yeah.
in high school.
Uh-huh.
In fact, last game of the season against Kingsport, I got 2 picks. So he thought I could maybe play safety for him. I said, well, but I did not want to go to Alabama simply because they had won so much before. Michael Phelps was with him. He and Lincoln Riley are good buddies, and they were at the golf tournament. And I saw one of your quotes one time that I use all the time. They asked Michael Phelps, what drove you to be the greatest male swimmer of all time? And he said, well, first of all, I hate losing. And second of all, I wanted to achieve things that had never happened before. And if you go to Alabama, what can you win that hasn't happened before? They've already won everything. So if you go somewhere like Florida back then, we could have won the first ever SEC, didn't quite do it. And then in South Carolina, gosh, we had an opportunity, which we did, a whole bunch of first evers.
I was gonna say, is that what led you to South Carolina? Just because, I mean, there have been Lou Holtz was there. There have been some great coaches that never had an opportunity to break through it.
What led me to South Carolina, they're the only one that offered me a job. That's my buddy was saying, Steve, nobody wins in South Carolina. I said, well, I'm going to find out if we can. I said, we get 11 players, they get 11. And the team I inherited was pretty good, really. We beat Tennessee in Knoxville, first time ever. Beat Florida up there, first time since 1938. South Carolina beat it. So just little things like that, I get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
First time ever.
So the LSU thing wasn't true then at that point in time? There was a rumor, I guess, that
LSU.
maybe you could have ended up at LSU instead of South Carolina.
Don't break my heart.
Well, yeah, it was another year.
Yeah.
That was another year.
Yeah, that was what, I think that was what, 05 or 06? Was that coming off of
That's what I mean. Oh, yeah. No, the LSU visit was after, that was in 85, 86 at the time.
Oh,
After the Texas
Just
they
one.
won, spoiled
Okay.
it up.
not 2 times, huh? That was the
No,
okay.
not 2 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned things that hadn't been done before. That 89 ACC championship, that of all the things that you had to do, that had to be one of the most improbable, though, right?
Well, that was the first.
Yeah.
That was the first. And that's, in fact, my wife, Jerry, needs to take credit for it. That summer, she found an article in a magazine, and it said how to set goals and how to achieve your goals. And it went on down in there that here's how you do it. You write them down, get everybody on your team involved, think about it, and go one step at a time. And, if you win a game, don't get full of yourself. And there's like 7 steps you go right through. And
We did. Yeah.
So I said, I'll do it this year at Duke. And so that about a week before the season, senior guys, captains, and a bunch of starters. We had about 15 guys in there that had played a bit, 20 or so. And so we're setting our goals, winning season, go to a bowl game. Duke hadn't been to a bowl game in 27 years. Beat North Carolina, always a go, in-state rival. Try to win 8 games. We'd won 7 the year before. I said, these are pretty good goals. And our center raised his hand, Bubba Metz. He was like a 3-4 year starter, tough, good player. He said, Coach, we think we can win the ACC championship. I said, Bubba, listen, you're supposed to set goals that are doable. He said, Coach, we got Clemson, Georgia Tech, NC State at home. Coach, we play good at home. You know that. And I was 12-3 at home for some reason. And we at about 500 away from there. But anyway, I said, okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put it down here at the bottom. Win ACC football championship. Now, don't go tell everybody. This is just between us. We don't look like a bunch of fools out there. So we write it all down there. So we start the season. And we won the first game at home, I think, maybe against Vanderbilt. And then we lost 3 on the road at Tennessee, at South Carolina. And then we go to Virginia. And Virginia had a really good team that year. And we go to Virginia. They never punted. They had 8 possessions. They scored 7 touchdowns on us. We got beat 49-28. So after the game, I think I said our chances of beating Clemson next week are probably 1 out of 1,000,000. And of course, they were reading that all down at Clemson. Danny Ford said, if the odds are 1 in 1,000,000, maybe we shouldn't even play this game. But anyway, we had a rally that week. There's an expression: a person or a team can change their life, alter their life with a change in attitude. So we got to have a change in attitude completely, and we got to change our defense. Virginia never punted; they ran up and down the field through. So we went to 8-man, 9-man front. I said, I don't care if they throw a 50, 60-yard touchdown, or if they run up the middle and our safeties can't tackle them, but our safeties end up playing like linebacker. Erwin Sampson, our strong safety, was leading tackler. And he'd start out back there and he'd come up. And we had, one safety, but we had an 8-man front all the way, rest of the way. And so Clemson comes to town, and it's sort of a rainy day. And we did, Coach Allen says, everybody sign the board. I will give my all to help our team win the game today against
Coach Ellison was your defensive coordinator at Florida, right?
Yeah.
And you would bring him in to speak to some of your teams. And
he came up to Duke a couple times, and then he spoke here first 2 SEC championship games. So anyway, Coach Ellison, in fact, I brought it up to Duke, a couple times.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we all signed the chalkboard. We're going to give it all we got all day. And nothing happened good the first half. You talked about you can't win with 5 interceptions. We threw 5 interceptions. They fumbled 2 of them back to us. And we're down 14-0 at halftime. We get the second half kickoff, rainy day, and we get sacked. We get a holding pillar. We got 3rd and about 31. So you know what we got? We got to throw it 30 yards, don't we? So we had the seam routes. And the week before, for some reason, we had the outside guys running the comeback. We called the steamers for seam routes, steamers. So send in steamers. So Billy Ray goes back and he decides he's going to throw a streak down the left sideline. Well, our guy ran a comeback. So the only guy going is the Clemson guy. And he sprinted and he caught it about 55, 60 yards down the left sideline. He decides to go to midfield. It was a rainy day, and we got guys coming at him from this side. And he decides to change the ball and go back that way, and he dropped the ball. And our number 4, Darrell Clements, I still see him diving on the ball on about their 22-yard line. And we hit a little pass or something and got down the 5-yard line. And then we found a running back that day named Randy Cuthbert. And he went off left tackle, and you know how the wide is there, and then all of a sudden it all goes into the end zone? That's what happened. We knocked Clemson's D-line. They had won 3 straight ACCs, and they sort of relaxed that second half. I don't know what it was, but we knocked them back in the end zone. Our bench erupted. We had about 6,000 or 7,000 there at the game that day. It was a rainy day. But anyway, so we got live, 14-7. And then we hit a touchdown pass, 14-14. Their guy kicked a 50-yard field goal, Gardaki. And we had one last chance. And we got down on about the 8-yard line. I called the pass to Clarkston Hines, ACC Player of the Year, All-American wide receiver. He still has more TDs than any ACC wide receiver. And they were in and out, cover 4, had no chance. So we throw it away. And I look back, and I don't know what to call it, 3rd and 8 on the goal line. And our back checker for the linebacker, he goes out 5 yards. And I'll be dang, he's standing there all by himself. There's nobody within 8 or 10 yards of us, right near the goal line. And I said, well, maybe we'll send the same formation in, and maybe they will mess up again. It's one of those 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, so there's no strong side, weak side. So I'll be dang, we call it. And I had a way of sending him in, hit the back. I can tell him who to throw to. Hit X, hit Z, blah, blah, blah. So he goes back. There he is standing all by himself. Same time. And so he falls in the back of the end zone. And Clemson gets the ball. And they're running. They didn't have much of a pass game. And they got a 4th and 12 at midfield. George Edwards, who came down here a while, was our captain linebacker. And I said, George, you think we ought to defend, play 5 short, 3 deep, and try to keep everything in front? He looked at me. He said, "Coach, we have been blitzing every play the whole game. Why would we change now?" I said, "You're exactly right. We rushed 8 guys, sort of hit the quarterback, that ball hit the ground." And so we won that game. And now all of a sudden, next week we win at Maryland. And then all of a sudden I said, "Hey, we could beat everybody now. We got a running back. We got a defense stopping people. And we can beat all these guys. And we'll take a picture at Keenan Stadium because we win the rest of them. We will be ACC champs." Everybody had at least one loss. So that picture up there in the top left-hand corner, that's ACC.
That's the first of many. Now that became a tradition. And every time we would win the SEC East, and every time that we would win the SEC, we do a similar picture, right?
We just did the East once,
Mm-hmm.
the Vandy, and that was we had good fortune that year. We lost our first 2 conference games, but Tennessee was one of them. We had to get Tennessee to lose 3, and if that happened, then we'd win the last 6, our 6-2 record. And we beat Georgia in a close game, 26-24. And then Tennessee lost to South Carolina 25-24. Same day. So I told the guys, if we beat Vandy, we're going to win the Eastern Division. And we'll take a picture out there on the field. And so we're out there taking a picture. And people saying, "Doesn't he know he just beat Vanderbilt?" Well, they weren't very good back then. But so we started taking the picture when you win a conference there, so forth.
Out of all this stuff here,
Yep.
what speaks to you? Because this
All that's years, just a lot of years of football, golf, South Carolina, high school section here and stuff. A lot of family pictures and so forth. My dad, story, which is true. He coached Babe Ruth baseball, and right before the season started, he got all the boys out there, and he said, "Fellas, how many of you guys believe in that saying? It's not whether you win or lose, but how you play the game." Yeah, half of them raised their hand. I knew better, and but he said, "I don't believe in that saying. I believe if you're keeping score, you're supposed to do your best to win the game." So we're going to try to play everybody, but if the game's close now, we're going to try to, our best players, we think, are going to play to try to win the game. And so anyway, I always got accused as a pro coach of trying to win those preseason games. I mean, we played everybody, but we did try to win because you're keeping score. And I remember one of our former guys, he said, "That dang Spurrier even tried to win those dang preseason games." I said, "You're right, he did."
You told a story to me one time about was it a intramural game at Florida, or a basketball game that somebody got mad at you for trying to either run up the score or win something? It mattered to you. I can't remember.
I'll tell you what, this past year, the TEP organization, Jewish fraternity guys, they had their 50-year reunion here, and they called me up to come talk over in the stadium because we had a touch football game in about what year was that? 69, 70, something like that. Maybe 70, I don't know, something like that. I was here in the off season. It was in the off season.
Yeah.
And they just won the TAP fraternity championship. And they found some guy, a football player, and he said, "Why don't you get a bunch of football players? We'll play you guys in a touch game." And so they came to me, and I was with 49ers then. And we got Richard Trapp, Allen Trammell, and Boyd Welch, former basketball player here, was our rusher. And he could grab those flags pretty well and so forth. So anyway, we had a heck of a game in the swamp. They lined it off, and everybody sat on one side of the field. And we beat the Teps 20-19. Richard Trapp, our receiver, caught a bunch of passes and stuff. And they remembered it well. They had about 8 or 9 guys that played in that game up in the stadium. And they all knew the score. And it was 50 years ago, a touch game with the Teps. And we all remembered, I remembered the identical score. And we wanted to win.
You like that as much as talking about ACC championship?
Yeah.
SEC
Teps,
championship.
we beat the Teps.
If they're gonna keep score, right? It matters.
Yeah.
It matters. And I think that people always are very surprised at, like, how do you remember all of these scores and all the
Scores stick with me for some reason. I can stick that. guy's name from this side or the other, I can lose it.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, the score of the game usually sticks. Some reason.
So kind of closing here, what do I need to know about this guy? What was it like coaching?
The CD. Oh, recruiting him was the tough part. You know that story, don't you?
No, I don't. What was what's the Chris Story recruiting story?
Well, he was right here in PK Young, and a good high school player, a little skinny guy back then. And what was the best offer you had? No, okay. And all he wanted to do is walk on. I said, sure. So we had some dumbass grad assistant coach that came with Bates. He came from Tennessee, and then they left after that year to go back to Tennessee. You got to be careful who you hire and things like that. They can leave in a heartbeat, which he was encouragingly. So he told Chris, and the coach came over with you. He said, "You wasting your time. You're not getting enough play here. You need to go small school somewhere, and because we're not going to offer you a walk on." And one of your coaches called me, told me about that. And you'd visited FSU.
Yeah.
Right after that.
And they gave me a walk on.
Yeah,
But did you know about this?
Yeah.
Visited it.
Well, he was looking for somewhere to go. Yeah.
Why have you been hiding this whole fact in front of all of our people?
All I wanted to do was play Florida, and then didn't feel like I was getting the love necessarily. So they offered me an opportunity to be a preferred walk-on there. I thought about it for about a week. Went to a Florida State baseball game and realized I couldn't do this. So I had to.
And then I finally found out about it and got in touch with you.
Yeah.
And I said, of course you can be a walk-on here. That guy, he's not going to be here very long anyway. So it was,
The thing I loved about Coach is that he didn't care if you were a scholarship guy, a walk-on guy. He wanted you to play the way you were coached, do the things that you didn't practice on the game field. And I don't think many people would have given me the opportunity that you gave me. I appreciate it.
well, and we, Monday's practice, we had Monday night football. Tackle. We played tackle. Right, Chris?
Full scrimmage was the guys that weren't
Walk-on guys. All walk-on, freshmen.
young freshman guys. Yeah.
Freshman, walk-on, down the line guys. And we'd choose up and away we'd go. And we had that middle route. I still see you getting hit by about 3 guys because those defensive guys, they're trying to impress their coaches too. But
You know who my quarterback was Danny Warfel, but I don't know if you heard of that.
That worked out all right for him.
We had a lot of connections in the
Monday night game.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
But that was, I mean, going back, and I said last thing, but going back, you as a freshman, were freshmen, did you play as a freshman at Florida, or is it kind
They
of
went out.
Gators?
Yeah. We had 4 freshmen game, but freshmen weren't eligible back then.
Yeah.
We actually beat Georgia here in the Swamp. That was the only home game we had. We went to Auburn, FSU, and Miami. So we had 4 games. And we won 3 of them, and I think we lost at Miami.
That's crazy. Think about that now, about freshmen.
Right.
I mean, that'll be
Now they need to play more than ever. Last thing, Coach. Now that you look back, is there something you miss about being in the locker room the most, or being around a team? Do you appreciate kind of?
Oh yeah, you miss the preparation to play the game.
The preparation more so than the game itself.
Oh no, the game itself. The game itself is more fun. But we did the preparation. I remember Ricky Neuheisel. He was a young coach. He said, and he wanted to go to all the schools around the country in the South. And he said, I went to Florida. Coach Spurrier was having a lot of success, so I went and watched him practice. He's with the quarterbacks all day. They're throwing to the receivers all day. And then he gets the team, and they're throwing and running, and he's coaching all day. And then I went up to FSU to watch him, and they had a scrimmage that day, and Coach Bowden was sitting in the top of the stadium watching and taking notes. And they're both successful. So what he's trying to say is both ways you can be successful, and that's true. And Coach Bowden was very successful. He really was.
My favorite day was Mondays. We go in later in the day, and the game plan would be out. He'd hand out a handwritten pamphlet of plays that he drew up just for that week, and you thumb through to see if you were in any of it.
That's right.
Yeah, it was but that was, again, very involved with every aspect of the program. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if people can do it now, I guess, maybe calling plays and being the head coach, but it certainly worked for you.
Yeah, that was what I did to become a head coach. Our offenses were pretty good, I guess. So why would I hire somebody when that was hopefully my strong suit. It can be done, but I can see the other side. If you don't think you're one of the best play callers around, get somebody else, and that way the head coach can coach everybody. At one time, our defensive guys had to feel a little, coaches with the offense all the time. So maybe during movies or during other times, I've tried to hang out with the defensive guys as much I could, and so forth. So I can see where being coach of everybody, you can't do it and be the play caller. And I don't know how you, without running around with the quarterback all day. Of course, we used to audible back in our day. Is anybody calling the audible anymore?
They're all checks from the side.
Well, they have hot reads and things like that. But anyway, there's advantages in having a good play caller, I would guess. So anyway,
Good play caller, good player, good hunter, good golfer. You done a little bit of it all. So
not always, that's for sure. But anyway,
a lot of great memories.
yeah,
Coach,
we've been very blessed.
Thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for everything you meant to me.
Thanks for one another.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate y'all coming in.
All right, I admit it. That was awesome. Is there one story that really kind of resonated you that you hadn't heard before?
Man, I could listen to him for hours, and I have listened to him to hours throughout my 30-plus years of knowing him. But I think hearing some of the recruiting stories, hearing the passion about some of the sports when he was growing up, all of these things led to the guy that I got to play for, and you got to experience. That was as honest and transparent as I've been around him in a long time.
And that's what we're trying to do over here. It is Regions Extra Stories of the SEC. What a blast that was.